Everyone called him a failure. His teachers, his relatives, even his own inner voice. Ayan had always been a dreamer, the kind of boy who saw possibility in everything. He'd look at broken clocks and wonder how they ticked. He'd watch documentaries about inventors and quietly whisper, "Someday." But life, as it often does, had a way of dimming that spark. His report cards were filled with red marks. His job interviews ended in polite rejections. Every time he tried something new, it seemed like the universe had one response: no. After failing his third attempt at a civil service exam, Ayan sat on the rooftop of his rented apartment, staring at the stars. He whispered to no one in particular, "What's the point of trying if I'm only meant to fail?" It felt like failure had become his identity, not just something that happened to him, but something he was, a label stitched into the fabric of his soul. Until one day, everything changed, not in the form of a big opportunity, but through a conversation with a man selling chai. Ayan had gone to a nearby stall, too tired to cook. The chaiwala was old, wrinkled, and wore a tattered shawl, but he smiled with a calmness that unsettled Ayan. His eyes carried the weight of decades and the peace of someone who had made peace with them. "You look tired, Beta," the old man said kindly. Ayan gave a half smile. "I'm tired of failing." The chaiwala paused, handed him a hot cup, and said, "You know, even the best arrows need to be pulled back before they fly." Ayan looked up. The man continued, "People think failure is the end, but it's not even the middle. Failure is just feedback. It tells you what didn't work, not what never will." That night, Ayan couldn't sleep. The old man's words echoed in his head. Failure is feedback, not identity. He lay awake until dawn, staring at the ceiling, thoughts racing. He began to reflect. He had failed the exam, but had he failed at learning? He had been rejected from interviews, but had he failed to improve? Or had he just believed the world's voice more than his own? The next morning, Ayan did something radical. He pulled out an old notebook and titled it, "Failures That Taught Me Something." Page by page, he wrote every so-called failure in his life, and next to each, he wrote what it had given him. Failed exam? It taught him consistency. Failed business? It taught him budgeting. Failed relationship? It taught him boundaries. Lost friend? It taught him to value presence. With every entry, a new pattern emerged. He wasn't broken, he was growing. The lessons were always there. He just hadn't been taught how to see them. And for the first time, failure didn't feel like a dead end. It felt like a teacher. Each failure wasn't proof that he was worthless. It was evidence that he had tried, that he had lived, that he had dared. He remembered all the times he hid his rejections, deleting emails so no one would see. But now, he began to collect them like medals. They showed his resilience, his willingness to keep showing up. He stopped fearing failure. He started studying it. He reframed it. Instead of saying, "I failed," he started saying, "I learned." He started small, tutoring local students, not glamorous but honest. With each student, he tested new methods, refined old ones, and kept notes. Every time a lesson didn't land, he didn't take it personally. He adapted. He no longer tied his worth to results. He tied it to effort, intention, and clarity. And word spread. One student brought 2 more. Then a school invited him to train their teachers. Eventually, he created a whole learning system based not on grades or ranks, but on understanding failure as part of the process. He called it Fail Forward Academy. Years later, Ion stood on a TEDx stage. Behind him was a single line: "I didn't fail. I found a better way." He smiled and told the crowd, "We live in a world obsessed with winning, but the real winners aren't the ones who never fall. They're the ones who know how to stand back up again and again with more clarity each time." He held up his old notebook, now thick with pages, underlined lessons, and coffee stains. He said, "This is my most valuable possession. Not my degree, not my award. This notebook of failures is the reason I succeeded, because I didn't erase my past. I reframed it." The audience rose in applause, but Ion wasn't thinking about the claps. He was thinking about the rooftop years ago, and the version of him who almost gave up, who believed failure was a full stop. Now he knew the truth. Failure isn't a full stop. It's a comma, a pause, a breath before the next breakthrough. And sometimes all it takes to rewrite your story is to start with the page titled, "What I've Learned from Falling." Moral of the story is, failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of it. When you change how you see failure, you change how you see yourself. Don't run from failure. Don't hide it. Study it. Learn from it. Reframe it. Because what you call failure today might just be the foundation of your greatest success tomorrow.
If this story touched your heart, share it with someone you love. Maybe it'll help them. And if you believe stories like these deserve to be heard, please like, comment, and subscribe to Life Lessons Library. Your one click keeps these stories alive.